At this point, you might still think maybe if we just vote for the right people or pass some new rules, we can fix this mess. Well, here's the hard truth that nobody wants to face. We cannot. The same people who created the problem already control every mechanism designed to fix it. Start with politics. The financial sector throws massive amounts of money at campaign in both America and Europe. Wall Street doesn't just push for what they want. They pay for the candidate, fund the think tanks, and literally write the policies before anyone votes on them. When a politician steps out of the line, their money disappears, their opponents get flooded with cash, and the message becomes clear. Go against us and we will destroy your political career. Then there's the media. People still think journalism holds power accountable. But the biggest news networks are owned by the same massive corporations that financial giants have major stakes in. So the stories that shapes what we talk about get filtered through corporate interest. You will get endless coverage of culture wars and political drama, but hardly anything about how the actual financial system works. Because that's the one conversation that the people in charge absolutely don't want you to have. Even when people fight back directly, the system knows exactly how to shut them down. Occupy Wall Street was the biggest grassroots challenge to financial power we've seen in decades. Well, what happened to that movement? Well, first, they painted the entire movement as dangerous. Then they split it apart. Then they confused everybody and steered this into endless debate about identity and representation that completely avoided the real issue of how the financial system bleeds people dry. Take financial regulation after 2008. Government promised sweeping reforms, and yes, laws were passed, but within years, Wall Street lobbyists hijacked the very rules meant to keep them in check. The regulators themselves often come straight from the same banks they're supposed to police. You want to talk about taxes? Every election, politicians promise to close loopholes and make billionaires pay their fair share. But these peoples have armies of corporate lawyers. Every loophole you shut down, they create two new ones. And even when higher taxes get passed, the super rich just move their money offshore, hide it in shell companies, or change how they get paid in ways regular workers can't even imagine. But here's what really pisses me off about this whole situation. You people are weak. This isn't just about generic race. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying. This is not about white people. This is about the mentality of the civilization. Your civilization created and also exported to institution structures everywhere, worldwide. But I've seen differences of how people respond to hardship. Global South countries are adapted to facing difficulties because we've had to survive despite your extraction for centuries. You crumble as soon as your comfort shrink even slightly. I mean, just look at the Palestinians right now. 23 months of bombardments. 70% of Gaza is flat, completely flattened. They're still functioning as a civilized group without consistent food or electricity for almost 2 years. That's real strength. You, on the other hand, C-19 happens. And what did we see? Everybody complied immediately. People start snitching on their neighbors. Got divorced over mask mandate. Stopped talking to family members because there's no shared belief system. No real values holding communities together. It's all flimsy consumer culture. That's your proof right there. You want revolts because you can't handle discomfort. You're too posh, too pampered. Revolution will require sacrifice, inconvenience, giving up some of the comfort that comes from living in the extraction centers of the global economy. You rather complain than actually change anything. And you know what makes this even more frustrating? For decades, people in the global south have been screaming about this system. We've been explaining exactly how Western financial extraction destroyed our economy, how your bank and your corporation steal our resources, how your government bomb us whenever we try to decide our own economic policies. Did you care when Western civilization was systematically destroying Africa through structural adjustment program and debt traps? Did you care when Western civilization was destroying Asia through currency manipulation and unfair trade agreements? Did you care when Western civilization was destroying Latin America through coup d'etats and economic warfare? No, you were perfectly comfortable as long as the extraction was pointed outward and keeping your standard of living artificially high. But now, that same extractive system has turned on you and started viewing you as disposable. Now that your own elite are extracting from you just like they extracted from us, suddenly you're upset about capitalism. Now that you can't afford housing, now that you're drowning in debt, now that your communities are falling apart, now you want to talk about fixing the system. But see, you only learn through humiliation. From the perspective of someone whose civilization has been brutalized by your people for centuries, I don't feel that much sympathy. If this so-called Western civilization burned to the ground tomorrow, it wouldn't make a difference to me. Matter of fact, we'd be celebrating over here.